Welcome to another episode of Class Haven Farms. So what are we doing today? Well, as you can see, bringing firewood up. It's wintertime. I got to keep everybody warm in the house. But before I get to this point of being able to bring wood in the house, the first thing I got to do is I got to cut it. So today we're going to do a 5-year review on my chainsaw. So I use the Husqvarna 455 Rancher. What I like about this saw is it's right there in the middle. I mean, if you think about it, you got your hairy homeowner saws, then you got your really fancy professional saws, and then you have the 455 Rancher. Works perfect for a guy like me. I cut anywhere from 10 to 15 cords of wood each year, and it's held up really good for my 5 years. So we'll do a review on it. I'm also going to talk to you guys about the importance of the type of chainsaw that you purchase and where you purchase your saw from. I think a lot of times we don't think about servicing the equipment or the availability of parts and things like that. You know, it's really nice to go get that real cheap, fancy chainsaw that you saw online, but if you don't have somebody that can work on it, if you don't know how to do this stuff yourself, you kind of run into a bind. So we're going to talk about the choice and the reason why I went with the Husqvarna. So here's the Husqvarna 455 Rancher. It's a 55cc engine. It's got about 3.5 horsepower on it. Husqvarna recommends that you run a bar anywhere from 14 to 20 inches. The way that I bought this saw, the setup on it was 20 inches. I will tell you guys, after having it for 5 years, I don't know that I would feel comfortable running anything like a 14-inch bar. I think that the least I would go would be a 16. That's just my personal preference. Husqvarna says that you can run a 14 to 20. I just don't know that I would feel comfortable with it. One of the things that I really like about the saw is how easy it is to start up. So you have your purge pump here, right? So you pump that up, and then here on the other side you have your decompression button. All right, so make sure that you push that decompression button down. It just makes it a lot easier for you when you go to start it. And the thing that I really like about this saw is that where the choke is, when you pull this choke out, and I just push that down, but when you pull this choke out, it sets this into the run position. So there's no messing with it and going in between and trying to find like that perfect line. It's just set there. I've only ever had to pull on this thing twice and she'll start right up. So once it starts up, all you do is you push your choke in and you're good to go. You pull your safety latch back and you're ready to rock and roll and cut. Some of the other things that's really nice about this saw is your gas and oil, where the cap is, it has a tether on it. So you don't have to worry about losing this. It also makes it really easy because they do the same thing with your bar oil. It also makes it really easy that when you're done at the end of the season and you're done cutting, you can just empty all this stuff out so you're not having gas sitting in there. I only use ethanol-free gas in this. I usually run 93 octane in it, and then it's a 50-to-1 mixture. And the oil that I always use, I like to use Husqvarna oil. I am one of those people that I try to use what the manufacturer uses. I know you can get it a little cheaper from other places, but I do the same thing. My John Deere tractors, they all get John Deere filters on them. And if you really think about it, by the time you get done buying some of the aftermarket stuff for the little bit of extra money, you just know what you get. So that's just me. I always use Husqvarna with everything, the oil, everything. So it's really nice there, easy storage. You're not going to lose your caps and things like that. And if you need to pull that out, it's just got a little plastic spring on it. You can just pull that out. The other thing that I like on this saw is that it has adjustable oiler down here on the bottom, just kind of runs right along the rail. So for those of you that are in different climates, I mean, I'm in Maryland, so, yeah, it might get a little cold, but it's not like it is if I go up into, northern part of Pennsylvania or New York and things like that, where you guys kind of get some colder temperatures. But if you need to adjust it, you can, so I do like that feature. The other thing that I really like about this saw is this large buck and spike. I've cut some really big trees up with this. I've cut stuff that's been well over 42, 45 inches in diameter. And this buck and spike is just nice. It gives you a nice little grab to it. I've had buddies that had cheaper saws, and the buck and spike's really not that nice. But I like it. Never had any issues with it. One of the other things that I really love about this saw is the oscillation springs that they have. So Husqvarna, when they engineered this, and I'm not any pro on this, but just looking at a lot of them sitting in the dealerships and stuff, it seems like they're all going to this. So they have springs here, which the nice thing is anybody, if you can see, all I'm doing is moving this spring, and it's keeping the motor part of it steady in it. What that does is just makes it easier when you're out there cutting. Anyone that's ever run a chainsaw, especially an old chainsaw that doesn't have springs and stuff like this, by the time you get done at the end of the day, you just got fatigue. Your forearms, everything is all just, it's almost like you were lifting weights all day. I don't have that when I use this saw. And like I said, I've had this for 5 years. I've cut a lot of wood. I mean, 10 to 15 cords every year. I've cut a lot of wood with this saw. And I don't have that fatigue in my arms, my forearms, my biceps, my back, all that stuff. I don't have it when I use this. So I really like that. I think it's a great feature, and it's something that I think they really thought about. And again, like I said, the nice thing about the saw is it's kind of right there in the middle. So yeah, you kind of got your hairy homeowner stuff that they're a little cheaper and all, and you got your really professional stuff, but I don't really need to spend that kind of money because I'm not using this every day. But when I do use it, I'm going to use it pretty hard. I'm going to cut up a lot of stuff, and it's just things like that, oscillation springs, just make your life so much easier. So the last thing that I'll touch on this is this has a side mount chain tensioner. All right, so pop these bolts out for you real quick. A little bit of information that you guys can use whatever you want, but this is the wrench that came with the saw. And what I did was I just bought one that's a lot longer. It just gives you more leverage. That's just what I personally like doing. I like having that longer one, gives me a little bit more reach. So you do whatever you want. But that's what I like to do. So I'm going to pop this cover off for you real quick. While I'm doing this and explaining it, one thing I will tell you guys, and I learned the hard way with this saw, the first time I had to take this off and I was having issues, and I'll talk about those issues here in a second. Make sure that when you go to take this side cover off, you pull your lock back. If you have this locked forward and you go, you'll be able to pull this cover off, but you're never going to be able to put that cover back on if this thing's not pulled back like this. I learned that the hard way, and the reason why I learned that the hard way was I let somebody borrow my saw. Now I don't normally do that. I don't normally let people borrow any of my stuff because you guys know people just don't take care of it. But I let this person borrow it, and what I think happened is I think they hit a nail and they jacked the blade all up when they hit the nail. So instead of taking the chain off and going through it and either putting another chain on there or just sharpening it, they got a different chain. But what they did is they got a chain that wasn't the right pitch for this bar. So this bar, the way it's set up, is a 3/8 pitch. So I don't know what they put on there, but they didn't have mine on there. And the reason why I know that is because my bar was all jacked up. So when they gave it back to me, they said, hey, it was kind of messing up and I don't really know what happened. That was how I got it back. So I go to take this cover off. Well, I kind of messed up, didn't pull this back. Took me a little bit to figure it out. So I'll pull this thing off for you guys real quick. And so what this does, this has an outboard clutch. So you can see your clutch is here on the outside. And it's kind of a personal preference. Some people like the clutches that are on the inside. This is maybe a little harder when you're trying to get the chain on there, if you got to pop a chain off and things like that. I know some of the other manufacturers, they don't do it this way. One thing I do like about it is it actually evens the weight of the saw out, and you feel it when you pick it up. So to me, it's not a big issue. Again, that's just a personal preference, so however you guys want it. So after I let somebody borrow this saw, what I figured out was this is my tensioner here. Okay, if you guys can kind of see it. That kind of goes into the hole in your bar, and that adjusts your chain tension. So looking at it, I couldn't figure out why this thing wouldn't tighten up. So what I was having was every time I was running the saw, for example, I'd be cutting a poplar tree up. And those of you that cut wood up, you know that poplar is just like paper, and the saw should just fling right through. You can have a dull chain on it, and you can still, muscle your way through it. Well, man, I would take one that I just sharpened and everything was good to go and put it on there, and next thing you know, the chain had a lot of slack in it. I'd be halfway through the tree, and I'm like, what the heck? So I took this thing apart, and when I took this tensioner out, what I found was she was bent. I don't know if you can see that too well. When it was inside here, it didn't look like that. So I pulled this thing out, and I was like, well, holy hell, that's probably a lot of my issue. So I think I went through H&L Supply and just picked up a couple of these. So I just keep them in my toolkit. I've never had any issues. Again, I don't beat my stuff up. I take care of my stuff. It was just my mistake letting somebody borrow my stuff. But it just is what it is. So what I ended up doing is I ended up changing the bar out. And for those of you that are looking at it going, oh my God, look, this guy's an idiot. He's got his bar upside down. This is something that I got from an old timer that does a lot of firewood in my area. He would always tell me, hey, anytime you change your chain out, flip your bar around. And the reason why you want to flip your bar around is it wears even. It wears more even. If you just leave your bar the same way all the time, it'll be uneven. You're gonna have to replace bars a lot faster. Hopefully I don't have to replace a bar anytime soon. I've been running this one for almost 2 years and I ain't had no problems. So that's some of the stuff on the saw. Like I said, the biggest downfall that I've really found with it is just knowing this adjustment. Really kind of threw me for a loop. Again, you know, my father had steel chainsaws and things like that, so it's just a little different setup. But once you get to understand the saw, I love it. I love this saw. And I'm going to put a plug out there, and I told her I was going to do this. I bought this saw 5 years ago from 231 Farm Center down in Prince Frederick. Aaron, the whole family, I know all of them. They're awesome people, really, really good people. And you know, guys, I've become a Amazon affiliate, which means I'll put links in my description of products that I show on my channel and things like that. And if you guys go and click on the link and you buy it from Amazon, then Class Haven Farms gets a very small percentage of your purchase. It doesn't cost you any extra money. But here's one thing I'm going to tell you guys. I could have gotten this saw a lot cheaper from going through a box store and things like that. I went local and went through 231 Farm Center because they're real people. They're people that grew up in my community. They're there for me. And it's one of the main reasons why I bought this saw. And I kind of talked about that in the beginning of my video. You know, you guys can do whatever you want. Buy your saw, buy your stuff from whoever you want. But a lot of times I think we buy products, and you take something like this. If I was having a major issue with the engine or something like that, if I am not mechanically inclined, and I'm not saying that I know it all, because I definitely don't know everything about this saw. I've done the basic tune-ups and things like that on it, and I'll probably do another video because I need to do a tune-up on this. It's been 2 years. And actually, I talked to Aaron at the 231 Farm Center. They didn't have the tune-up kit that I needed, so they ordered me one. But one thing I'm going to tell you guys, buy from people that, one, you trust and that you know will be there for you. I bought this from the 231 Farm Center because they carry Husqvarna. So if I need parts, if I need anything, if I need service, I can go to them. Don't buy your stuff from somebody because they're the cheapest. You know, yeah, you know what, that tune-up kit, I could probably order it on Amazon, and I could probably get it a little cheaper. But anytime I've ever needed anything, like the bar, when I replaced the bar, I went to her. The only thing that I didn't do was I went to H&L Supply for this, and mainly because I could get the schematics and kind of look at it. But that's why I went that way. But I bought this saw from, again, the 231 Farm Center. So try to help your local people out. That's why I bought it from them. And you guys do whatever you want. I'm not saying that Husqvarna is the only brand out there. I'm not saying that they're the best. I like this saw. This is the only saw that I have. And I'm looking at buying another saw. I'd like to get something a little bit smaller to kind of help me out with limit and things like that. And I would eventually like to get one that's a lot bigger. Because, like I said, I've cut some stuff that's been like 45. Sometimes I had one poplar that my wife signed me up for, and if that thing wasn't 50 inches around, maybe a little bigger, I don't know. I'd give him a whole paycheck, you know. So, but I was really happy with 231 Farm Center. So go to people that you truly trust, that you truly like. They're great people there. I'm going to put a link in the description to their website. And I will also put a link to the Amazon for this. So if those of you that are watching me that don't live near Prince Frederick or even know where the hell Prince Frederick, Maryland is, you can, if you want to get a decent saw, I've had good luck with this one. But if you got somebody by you that sells these, go to them, buy it from them, because right now with everything going on, they need you. Your local businesses. I mean, I know here in Maryland and in my county, I'm seeing a lot of businesses. I was just talking to my wife tonight about one that we used to go to all the time, and because of all this COVID stuff, they're closing. It's scary, man. And if you're a small business, and you know, I worked for a small business years ago, and I know what it's like. So, you know, support those people. So like I said, Aaron at the at 231 Farm Center, awesome people. Her dad's an awesome guy. Her brother has a trailer company that's partnered with the farm center. Go down there and support your local people and help them out, because nowadays they need it. I mean, yeah, we can buy stuff online and we can get it cheaper and we get it shipped to our house, but there's nothing like walking in the store and being able to put your hands on this. And that was what made me buy this, was going in there and putting my hands on it and knowing that the money that I'm spending is helping them out, and they're always going to be there for me. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something from it. Oh, and real quick, just in case anybody's looking at this, so the chain that you'll want to get is this one here. So the Rancher X, and it'll say for the 455 Rancher and the 460. And again, it's 20-inch, 3/8 pitch. The file size on this is 7/32, so it's a little on the bigger end. And the drive lengths, it's got 72 on the drive lengths, and your gauge is 0.050. I've only ever run the Husqvarna chains on it. I know some other people talk about running some of the others. I mean, I don't need to. This does exactly what I need it to do. It's done fine for 5 years, and I have about 2 or 3 of those chains that I just like to keep on me. And again, anytime I've ever bought a chain or anything, I went to the 231 Farm Center and bought it from my local people. I know I can get it cheaper, but help your local people out. So, look, guys, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this. Give me a like. Subscribe to the channel. If you see something you like, you know, let me know. Give me a comment. Let me know some stuff that's going on. So I want to thank you guys very much, and I'll see you on the next one.